Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Two Drink Minimum, the only podcast on the planet that still hasn't successfully hired a fully functioning adult as its third mic. The gentleman sitting in front of me doesn't need an introduction, but you know I'm going to give him one anyway because it's comedy legend Mike Ward.
I am Mike Ward. You are Pantelis, and this guy, not a third mic, he's a seventh mic.
Yeah, as soon as I made fun of him, he took off his sunglasses. You saw that?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
said he's not functioning. He's like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna show him I'm a professional.
Bro, I just like that.
A professional.
A professional.
Professional.
You're a professional.
You're a
Professional.
professional. You're
Professional.
a professional talker.
But he's evolving because now
Yeah.
he's wearing his hat frontwards instead of backwards.
And he's got
Backwards.
you come out with big words now. It's like you have the word of a day
Type of thing.
yeah.
I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
I was using kerfuffle for a bit.
Yeah, anything I
Yeah.
say, he says it. He's like, what does it mean?
Kerfuffle.
My vocabulary is expanding.
Yeah, well, let's not go that far. The problem is you have limited knowledge.
When did you use kerfuffle?
I said it to myself mainly. It was more like a thought.
What's with this kerfuffle in here? Yeah.
These crispy kernels are good, but not as good as kerfuffles.
Yeah, it's exactly
Fucking
that.
Ruffles, okay, kerfuffles, awesome.
Ruffles are the poor man's kerfuffles.
Oh God.
So we're back. We're back on the YouTubes and we're back on everywhere and on Compound Media.
I keep saying, I keep telling people on my social media we're on iTunes, but it's not even called iTunes anymore. It's Apple Podcasts.
It's true. I keep saying iTunes also.
We're like old goddamn men. We're fucking.
Why they change it?
I don't know. I don't know. They
I know
shouldn't.
why. I know why. The name the word podcast now finally carries meaning and weight. Podcasts are getting real advertisers. Podcasts are an actual media. It's considered like Joe Rogan has the biggest show on the planet. It's a podcast.
Yeah.
So I think they wanted to have the name podcast because they saw Google go for Google Podcasts. And in case someone doesn't know, let's say I tell you, hey, you should listen to that podcast, and you're one of these fucking nerds. You're like, what's a podcast, right? iTunes? You don't know. Podcasts on iTunes, you get confused, but they're like fucking Apple Podcasts.
Is Google? It's Google Podcast now.
Yeah.
I keep calling it Google Play.
No, Google Play is there's a Google Play Store, but then there's Google Podcasts.
Jesus, fuck! I gotta change everything about my website.
Yeah, I changed all of mine too. I got the new logos and everything.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Is AM radio? Are we still on AM radio?
They still play us on some AM radio stations.
CJAD every Sunday at 6 a.m.
Wait, CJAD is still it's an AM radio
It
station.
is an AM. That's what's fucked up about Montreal on the English side. That people like, hey, do you want to do CJAD? Yeah, what? AM radio?
Yeah.
And people still do that. It's still a thing. People listen to AM radio in Montreal.
When I was a kid, I was confused with the AM FM because I thought AM meant like in the day and FM meant at night.
You got
So you can only listen.
You're gonna give Pierre a heart attack.
So you can only listen to FM radio at night and AM radio in the day until noon, and then from noon going forward, you can only listen to FM radio.
You were a smart kid though.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were definitely going places as a child. So you're telling me as a kid, kids are curious, they try stuff. You never tried during the PM to put the AM dial?
No.
You're too scared to do it.
Yeah. I was like, what would happen?
Did you think the sun was gonna just explode?
No.
The sun was gonna be like some fucking stupid kid.
Quit playing with the frequencies. God damn.
Yeah, it took me a while to realize.
Yeah. When did you figure it
How
out?
about
When did you figure out that you could do it? Right now when Mike mentioned it?
No.
How about BC, before Christ?
Like the years,
Yeah.
10,000
Could you
BC.
listen to and it's weird because I was gonna say AC, but it's AD.
It should be AC.
But then he would have thought it was air conditioner.
Oh no, you know why it's not AC? Oh, because there's a difference of 33 years between BC and AD.
Okay.
Because it's after death.
Yeah,
So it's not
death.
after.
Oh, that's what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't know what it meant?
No.
AD means after after the death of Christ.
Before
So-
BC, I knew it meant
So
before
that means
Christ.
that year 0 and 1 have like a 33-year gap in them, right?
Yeah.
Because 1 is the birth, BC is everything before Christ existed, and AD is after death.
That means that for 33 years, when people ask you, what year is it? Jesus.
We're still in the year of the
We're
Jesus.
still Jesus
Or
year.
DJ
Yeah.
during Jesus.
During
No,
Jesus.
just so you know, Poseidon, just like I told you last time, in China they don't call Chinese food they call it food. Same thing during that time, they referred to it as whatever years they had.
Yeah.
Like it was Jewish years, right? So they were already in like the year 2000 or something.
Interesting.
You knew that? Like you knew that, right?
Well, the Jews are in 5,000 something right now, right?
yeah, exactly.
Well, everyone's in 2019. Like they don't have their calendar, and they're like, "Goddamn Christians, hide our calendar."
Yeah, it's just they have it ceremonial, like
Yeah.
it's for ceremony. It's
Okay.
Like everyone uses the Jesus calendar.
Okay.
yeah, like they don't come up to you and you're like, dude, where were you, Shlomo? You're supposed to start work an hour ago. He's like, what are you talking about? It's Saturday.
Yeah.
They don't do that, right? They just have it. It's just ceremonial.
Okay.
Because technically, all different cultures, like different places you were in the world, would have different calendars because they all had different
Yeah.
starts to their societies.
But in order for humanity to function,
You need a core, which is like time. It's it's not really 24 hours in the day. It's like 23 point something. So time is constantly adjusting a bit. You know about that? Like they're always
didn't know
adjusting it
about
by a bit. That's because it's not exact 24 hours. I think it's 23 something.
this is hurting my head.
They'd have to put it like metric to make it. Like they could make it exactly.
Could they?
Or I guess they couldn't because of the seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why there's always a little, and you adjust for.
Does that explain why we have to go forward 1 hour and back 1 hour?
No.
Oh.
That's
No.
only for sunlight,
That's
so we
for
get more sun.
farmers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's also stupid, and we should stop doing it.
Why?
It fucks everything up. And especially now that a certain portion of the world stopped doing it, it means that a 7-hour time difference, half the year, turns into an 8 or a 6 the rest of the half. It
Yeah.
fucks up everything. It's either everyone changes or no one changes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you'd work. I mean, I guess it would get darker in the winter. That would be the problem. But it's still
But
fucking
it
dark.
already does.
It already is
Who
dark.
cares?
Yeah.
Fucking don't people have lights?
Yeah.
Like this will fuck up people in Afghanistan or, where they don't have electricity. But here, it's not the end of the world.
Like look at New York. It's a city that never sleeps. You think they'll notice the difference?
Nah.
It complicates shit. Plus, also you fuck up your sleep. How much does that suck? You got to go to work the next day, and you're like, nice. Oh fuck, it's an hour ahead, right? It pisses people off.
Well, it's only 1 day out of the year. I mean.
Yeah, but it fucks you up for that whole week.
Yeah, but you also get an extra hour.
You don't get an extra hour. There's no such thing as extra
Yeah.
hours, right? That's what I'm telling you. It's not really an extra hour. You're just going back to where you were. You're just telling time differently.
It's like telling someone, I'm going to steal $5. Hey, and then a year later or 6 months later, here's $5. Wow, I got a free $5.
You didn't. It's the
Yeah.
$5 he took from
Okay.
you.
took from
I
you.
get it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how taxation is theft.
It is.
So this is an educational episode just for
It
Poseidon.
is, yeah.
You know what I didn't tell you? We didn't talk about yet on any of the shows, so people get to hear. So during the festival, there was a lot of weirdo situations. We could get to talking to that, but I want to mention that there's some cool podcasts that are going to come out. I'm going to release on the Pantelis podcast an interview with Barry Katz.
Barry Katz, king of all weirdos.
King of all weird. Yeah. So Barry Katz, what's cool about him is he agreed to the podcast,
Yeah.
but he could only do it at 1:30 in the
For
morning.
those of you that don't know Barry Katz managed basically everyone.
Dave Chappelle,
Dave Chappelle,
Nick Swardson.
Bill Burr.
Yeah.
His episode with Bill Burr is the best podcast I think I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Listening to Bill fucking just
Bust his balls.
Yeah.
So he's a cool dude though, but he agreed to do the interview, but he could only do it at 1:30 a.m. from his hotel room.
okay.
And it was the night of the Netflix party, the big party everybody wants to go to in the summer. So I went with Poseidon. I said, look, we have the mobile studio now. We can bring it with us. You just have to learn how to set it up. And we'll go to his room in the middle of the night and we'll do it. Which, it's kind of questionable 1:30 a.m., but it's Barry Katz. I could take him if he tries to rape me.
Yeah.
So we head down to the Netflix party, and then he messaged me. He goes, look, to make things simpler, how about you go to my hotel room before I get there? You set everything up, and then when I get there at 1:30, we could just start the podcast right away.
And it was his hotel room that his infant son is
Not
sleeping,
infant,
right?
but 2 kids.
But like young enough, right?
They were young.
How old?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't ask. Poseidon, did you ask him before you
I
fucked
think
him?
8 and 12.
Okay.
8 and 12. So you ate the 12-year-old? Is that what you're saying? You ate out a 12-year-old.
That sounds like you.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
I'm just judging by like.
So here's a funny Barry Katz story. So then he sends me a message with that, and then I think about it. Wait, if he's not home, are the kids gonna be like? What am I doing there? And then he's like,
Does
no.
Does he have a wife or a girlfriend?
She wasn't there. If he does, she didn't come on the trip. I don't know his story.
So it's just the kids alone in a bed and a fucking giant setting up cameras.
No. But here's the
God
thing.
damn
The
it.
kid,
What
the kids
fuck?
weren't there yet, right? The kids were with him.
Yeah.
So what happens is I'm like, how would I get in his room? So he sends me instructions. He goes, listen, I'm gonna hide the key card of my room in the hotel. I'm gonna send you a picture of where it's hidden. You're gonna go there. You're gonna get it. You're gonna go to my room, open up, and do everything like a fucking scavenger hunt. And like he's also very trusting. So he sends me a photo of where he had hid it. So I sent Poseidon. I go, Poseidon, these are the instructions. You go. I'm gonna stay another 20 minutes at the party. You go set everything up. I'll come in. I'll walk in. We'll be ready for the podcast. So he leaves, and he has this all on GoPro. Him going there and setting up. So I think I'm gonna make a video of it soon too to show people what he did during the festival. So he leaves. He sees people in the street, and he really had to take a shit. So he gets to the
Barry's
apartment.
room.
He gets the key card, and then he's like, "Fuck, there's nobody here yet." So he goes into Barry's bathroom, and he fucking takes an explosive shit. By the time I got there, Barry was already there, ready to record, and the podcast lasted till like 4 something in the morning. It was crazy.
Did it smell like shit in the room?
It smelled a little peculiar. I did not know what it was till 2 days later when he told me that he shit himself in that. And then I was like, that's what that smell was. I thought it was probably like a dead raccoon or something, but it was him. But it was him taking a shit. So the podcast was funny. Is right after the podcast happened, then I started selling him on you because I figured you'd be a good get for him. Like it'd be an interesting interview.
Yeah.
But the way
On his podcast.
because I think it'll be good for other people to get to know you. But what's funny about it was just the way I described it. You know, as, the biggest ticket in Canada, the #1 seller, the biggest name in Canadian comedy. So then
Which is all like
true,
highly exaggerated though.
but what was
Because like I'm a good, like I sell a lot of tickets, but Russell Peters.
you're #1
is
in my book.
fucking-
Russell
yeah,
Peters is like 4.
Russell Peters is a piece of shit.
Yeah. So what happens is
Arenas don't count.
arenas don't count. Only real people comedy. So what happens is when he actually interviewed you, he opened the intro. He says the #1
Because he started
No.
so I go do his podcast Industry Standards, and then he starts, and he did like 11 podcasts in a row that day.
Yeah.
So he's fucking dead tired, and he's got the hiccups, and he's just a fucking
he had the hiccups with me too.
yeah. And he goes, this is such an honor to have my next guest, the biggest star in Canada. I'm like, Barry, that's a little much. No. And then he goes, no, you sold out. Who else can sell out 25 club sodas in a row? Exactly nobody.
He's right about that.
Then we
though.
start the podcast. But it was weird because and then he was like, why do you think you're so popular? And I was like,
I'm
'cause-
sexy.
No, but I was like, French people, like it's the French Canadians that fucking,
Support me.
even when I do English shows, a lot of French Canadians or Quebecois come see the show. And then he was like, you speak French? So he knew nothing about it.
No,
He was
that's
like,
even
you
funnier.
speak French? And I was like, yeah, I fucking, like I do shows in French. And then he was like, really? And then he started talking about George Lopez. He was like, because George Lopez told me that he speaks Spanish, but he wouldn't do stand up in Spanish, even though all his fans are Spanish, because it wouldn't work. And then I was like, yeah, well, George Lopez is fucking stupid and lazy. Because like fucking George Lopez would kill way harder in Spanish,
yeah, for sure.
if it's all Spanish people. Like fucking.
Oh, that is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to listen to this.
But it was weird because he threw me off guard like so often with just weird, like because it was just fucking weird. It was he's so nice, but he's very like I think maybe that's why he got to sign so many people and then they all left is because
he's a good dude.
He keeps you like you're always off guard because you're like what's going on, like he asks you questions, you go like, okay, we're talking about this, he's gonna go here, oh no, there he is, like he's very surprising. He must have been a good guest for you.
Dude, it was a fun interview. He had a good Katt Williams story.
Did he used to manage Katt Williams?
No, that's why it was a fun story.
Okay.
He went to see him. Katt Williams invited him, got him tickets to a show. And then he goes, I was the only non-black in the green room. And then he's like, he doesn't want to talk to me, but he said the story of how, like, because I was just telling him about how even though we bust his balls, he is part of comedy culture now. He's synonymous with it, and he did a lot. Like, he's part of the history. You know, people like to bust his balls just because they know him and we can fuck with him.
He's the best part of that documentary.
Comedian.
Yeah,
he is.
Like, the Jerry Seinfeld thing when there's fucking Orny Adams that's being a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you can't be funny during the day. You're funny on the Tonight Show, not on the Today Show. And then he's like, yeah, shut the fuck.
Yeah.
Like Stephen Wright could do it. And then Orny was like, where's Stephen Wright? And then Barry was like, he won an Oscar. That's where he is.
Yeah.
He's with his Oscar right now. Go fuck yourself. You're Orny Adams, you piece of shit.
Yeah, so I try to remind him because it feels like what happens is he gets so caught up in his own shit that he starts feeling unimportant. He doesn't realize
how important he
is to comedy and how important he was in the history of comedy. Like, when there's documentaries in 50 years, he's going to be part of
everyone, like the whole generation that came right before us. Like everyone from Louis, like all those guys, all the comics that were actually funny comics.
Yeah,
he started all of them.
Yeah,
or like he didn't. So, but he managed all.
Yeah,
of
he
them.
managed all of them. So that's big, you know. So it was fun reminding him of that and seeing that he really, it slipped his mind. Like he was like at first he was confused about it, and then I had to like kind of reiterate, like, how do you not see what you've done and what you've been part of? But I guess that happens when you get so focused on something, you don't see all the around and you don't see the journey, right? So that's what happened to him. But it was a very good get. It was fun.
And you told him, you asked him, you told him our theory about him that we didn't know if he was
a genius or a maniac. And I told him, why is it that you signed everybody? Why the fuck? What did you do? Why did they all fire you? And he's like, fuck, that's a very good question. And I told him, me and Mike have a theory about you, like that you're a genius about finding talent. But I have to know, what the fuck did you do to get fired so much? Like, are you setting fires to daycares? Like, why is everyone getting rid of you? So then that spawned a whole other conversation about how a lot of comics, they respect his opinion still, and they'll ask him. Even comics that he used to represent will call him and ask him, what'd you think of my appearance there? Like, they value his opinion on what he knows. But he says that different times in your career, you need something different than what he could offer. So they would come and go. But he said, like, there's people that he represented. Like, you'll hear the podcast. It's very good. Like, multiple times. Like, fucking Jeff Ross, I think, was with him 3 different occasions. Like, imagine getting fired 3 times by the same guy.
I don't think it's firing at that point, though.
It is. That's what you do to managers.
Is he still managing? Does he still have Brad Williams?
He mentioned Brad Williams. It didn't sound like he still manages him, but I don't know if he still does. But he still manages people. He sent me his info, so he still manages people.
Who does he have? Do you know?
I didn't check. I didn't care.
That's what's fucked up. Like, signing with a guy like Barry, there's something about that that's very cool because you're like, fuck, my manager used to manage Chappelle, and then they're like, who does he manage now? Barry Edmonds from Cincinnati? Yeah. Like,
he manages Poseidon's Atlantic cruise. I don't know.
Speaking of Atlantic cruise.
Yeah, but
I must take off.
Oh, he is taking off.
Oh, fuck, right away. God damn. We bought him food and then he just leaves.
All right, we see how you feel.
I'm sorry.
Fucking
get the fuck out of here. Have fun, Poseidon.
I'll try.
I break my goddamn back for you.
He thinks this podcast, he thinks he's Jeff Ross and this podcast is Barry Katz.
Yeah.
He could just leave and come back.
Did you say
who's Jeff Ross?
I love that.
Jeff Ross fired him 3 times. That's not really firing. You're Jeff Ross. Who's Jeff Ross?
He's Conor McGregor. He's like, who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah. God damn.
This is going to be a little tricky.
Why is it tricky? Just stand
I'm a very large man.
Just stand up. God damn.
Stand up, fatty.
Come on. Jesus, fuck. God damn. You want me to push you out of... God damn. That's how I imagine Oprah getting off the toilet. She has fucking Stedman turn her around. She's like, Stedman, I done my poo-poo.
I done my poo-poo.
And then he twirls her around. I'll move over this way.
Yeah.
There we go.
It could be in the middle.
Shit, I got a raise.
Look at
I
that.
don't know where the middle is. Here it is.
This is hilarious.
Fucking, there we go.
That was just me and you.
Yeah.
It's like speed dating.
Exactly.
So, where did you go to school?
I did, you know what's weird though about Barry?
A lot.
But there's one thing, like the fact that it's true. He like what he thinks he's often right. We were talking, and he threw me.
He's very smart about comedy.
And he threw me off guard on one thing because we were talking, and then he asked me because when I opened for Cosby in the old days, I opened with 11 minutes about how to put pills in women's drinks or not. But no, I work clean, so I technically I am able to work clean. I just choose not to. And then he asked me, he was like, would you do the Tonight Show if they asked you? And I was like, I don't want to do any TV, but for some reason, since I'm 45,
Historical.
the Tonight Show, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'd do the Tonight Show. And then I was explaining why I do it, and then I was explaining that I would do it because technically I can work clean. But then after, for some reason, I started thinking about that for the whole day after, and I was like, fuck, I should have said no. I should have said no, because it's weird. Since I'm 45, in my mind, doing the Tonight Show is still important. But yeah, fucking Carson died 1 million years ago.
Yeah.
So now you do the Tonight Show, no one knows you.
Yeah, I right now I don't care anymore about the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
I would rather be, I'd rather go on stuff that I like.
Yeah.
Fucking Rogan or Legion of Skanks or just fun stuff.
And like
that people that are like-minded are gonna watch.
Yeah.
Because the Tonight Show, no one watched the Tonight Show is gonna be there for us.
The only way that people are gonna see, like the people I want to see me are gonna see my set on the Tonight Show, are people on the internet, and then they're just gonna go, this guy seems funny, but all of his punchlines end with "gosh darn it."
Yeah,
and it's just fucking garbage comedy. So yeah, it'd be so it was weird though. After I was like, oh shit, that was a bad answer. That was a very bad answer.
Strange that you thought that.
Yeah, and I thought about it like way too much. Even as soon as I said it, we started talking about something else, and it was still in my head. But then I was like, I can't go back and go, I wouldn't do, because then I look like a guy that's like, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
He doesn't know what he wants.
Yeah, and I do know what I want, but for some reason, the Tonight Show fucked me up, because of Carson.
He fucked with me too at one point because he was asking about like perspective of what I like about comedy. Like he really got mad at me when I was talking about my Mount Rushmore and I couldn't fill it up. And then he was kind of upset at how much I liked Anthony Jeselnik.
Oh really?
Yeah,
how come?
I don't know. He didn't like it, but then he told me, because I told him I don't like gimmicky comic. Like I said the word gimmick, but I guess what I meant was like I don't like that improv shit and that alt, basically not funny is being funny, like a TED Talk shit. Yeah. I didn't express myself properly because it was late. So then he kind of mind fucked me and then explained to me, like, do you think Jeselnik is the same guy off stage? It's a persona.
Yeah.
He goes, that's a gimmick. He goes,
yeah.
But you said you don't like gimmicks, but you like Jeselnik. And then I was like, yeah, that's technically a gimmick, but it's not, because I didn't expect. I was so tired. What I wanted to say was just I don't like the whole anti-comedy comedians. Like I don't need to be funny to be a comic. That's what I don't like.
Like Jeselnik is the only guy. I always say I hate comics that try to shock. I like comics that are kind of shocking. But whenever someone writes a joke and goes, I'm gonna write this and it's gonna be so out there, people are gonna freak out. Those jokes generally suck.
Yeah.
Jeselnik's the only guy that writes jokes just to be offensive, but they still work because he's such a good joke writer.
Yeah, he's a very good writer.
He's like, I always used to say Jimmy Carr was the best joke writer in the world. I think Jeselnik's jokes are probably better.
Yeah, they are better. They're better crafted, but that's not taking anything away from fucking Carr. He's still brilliant, but I think he's in a league of his own.
Yeah.
Jeselnik. Which, again, it was shocking to me in the podcast. You'll hear how he was getting upset every time I'd put him on a pedestal. He didn't like that.
When you put Barry on a pedestal?
No,
when you put Jeselnik.
Jeselnik.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because then he's like, what's your Mount Rushmore? And then I said, honestly, it would have to be Bill Burr, Eddie Murphy. I really like Eddie Murphy. Dave Chappelle. I go, I don't know who else. And then he reminded me of Seinfeld. I go, yeah, technically Seinfeld opened door for so yeah, I would have to put Seinfeld up there with
Seinfeld.
That's why it's tricky. And then I told him, I don't know, I can't even put 5. I go, like, unless we're talking about prior, like, because he said working now. He said comedians working now. So then I said, still working now? Well, Jeselnik is up there. He's really good. Yeah. And that's when he freaked out. Because then he's like, but the Mount Rushmore. I go, yeah, but you said Mount Rushmore of working now. And if we talk working now, then I can't put Pryor. I can't put Carlin.
Yeah.
right? But I could put Burr, I could put Chappelle.
Put
And
Louis too.
Louis C.K. I forgot.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about Louis.
Louis still working.
Louis still working, yeah. And
Yeah.
Louis more, especially more than Seinfeld too. To me, for my
Yeah.
kind of comedy.
Because Seinfeld, even Louis after a year off, because he was banned from
Yeah.
well, he took a year off himself, but when he came back, now even though people are fucking protesting and shit, and people like all of the sort of alt comics are going, this is hacky and blah blah blah, but even Louis with coming back after a year with just like a first draft
Still better
material
than
is still a million times better than
99% of everyone out there.
and everything that Seinfeld's ever recorded.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right about that. You're 100% right about that. But Seinfeld did have an influence and impact on comedy,
Yeah,
and
and
I know that Larry
it's 'cause
David.
of the TV show.
Yeah, I know that Larry David
Yeah.
technically was the one who was
Yeah.
behind all that.
But even if, Seinfeld without Larry David would be fucking Tool Time or whatever that Tim Allen
yeah.
show was. It'd be garbage
Goofy.
comedy like that, or the Cosby Show. It'd just be because since Seinfeld never swore on stage, he probably would have had a little moral. It would have been at the
Yeah.
end of it. It would have been just shit.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, but Larry David saved that show.
Larry David's the only I don't, now that we're getting to meet so much more people, the bigger this gets, we go to all these places. I don't care about meeting anyone except for Larry David. If I
Yeah.
met Larry David, that for me would be a fan moment.
He's the only two people I've ever been in the same room with that I could have just reached over and said, hey, I'm a big fan, that I actually was a big fan but didn't, is Larry David and Norm. Those are
Really?
the only two. Like Larry David, I was a bunch of years ago. He was, I don't know what he was doing in Montreal, but he was at the table next to me in a restaurant, and no one knew him yet because this was before Curb. It was just I just knew him because I loved the show Seinfeld, so I'd seen him in interviews and shit, and I could hear him talk because I was like, that fucking bald guy looks like Larry David, but I was like, it's probably not him. It's probably just some French dude. Then I heard him speaking, and I was like, that is Larry David. So then I started eavesdropping to see if it was funny or not, to see if it was him. Then I was like, fuck, that is him. But then I was like, oh shit, he's gonna notice I'm listening. I can't fucking say hi to him. So I just like ended up leaving.
Fuck.
Yeah. And Norm, same type of story. I was during Just for Laughs, we both got in a shuttle together, and I got in, sat in the last row, and then he got in, sat in the last row next to me, and then no one else got in. So it was fucking weird that we were both sitting, on the same seat next to each other. And I've loved Norm since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And and we went to the same fucking high school. It would have been so easy for me to say, hey man, we went to the same high school. We would have instantly, maybe not bonded, but at least talked.
Had a conversation.
But I was looking forward, going, it's Norm Macdonald.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's very few people
Yeah.
that could do that.
Yeah.
Especially me. I know that I'd probably have that moment with Larry David. It would be
Yeah.
a fan moment because everything he does, I like. Like Curb,
Yeah,
I have every fucking season.
Curb is so good.
Yeah, because he puts himself because that's how I am in life. I get in those similar situations, like a lot of misunderstandings, right? Even my comedy, if you listen to it, it's mostly these misunderstandings that happen.
Yeah.
It's just my life. So.
And it's the same thing, the same reason why Larry David works and the same reason why your stand-up works is just you tell the truth.
yeah.
So, because most people in real life, they'll see someone do something stupid, and in their mind, they'll be like, that's stupid, but I won't say anything, not to make it awkward. But you'll be like, what the fuck's that? What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he's like that too.
Yeah.
That's why I think especially with Curb, I related very much.
Yeah.
Because people are like, oh, like my buddy Homer can't watch it. Curb,
Really?
he says it makes him cringe because he feels whenever there's an awkward moment, he starts feeling too awkward. He's like, that's too awkward for me because he puts. But
Really?
for me, I'm like, oh, I know what he's going through. So to me, I watch it. I go, at least it's not just me.
Yeah.
So then when my buddy Homer told me that, I go, that's interesting how I never thought about how other people would see it.
Yeah.
But then when I listen to him, I go, fuck, it must be awkward for other people. Because for me, it feels awkward, but I'm like, I know what you're talking about. I've been there, sir. So it's relatable. People always try to find something that relates to them, whether it's music or whatever. For me, Larry David is relatable because he's me without hair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Another guy that that we met this summer that I was really happy we met is Andrew Schulz.
Fucking gangster.
Yeah, because I've been hearing about like Andrew Schulz for like a year-ish or maybe a little more than that. And I'd seen him on stage. Well, I'd seen him on YouTube on stage, and I was like, okay, I like how this guy is, but I didn't think he was as good as he actually is.
He is.
Until I saw him live, and then I was like, holy fuck.
He's very, very
He's
good.
so good.
He's so good, and he's
Yeah.
of our ilk.
Yeah.
He's very much like us. Like off stage when we
Yeah.
talk to him and stuff, he's a cool ass dude.
And he's very inspirational. Like I love seeing guys like that.
Yeah.
And I even told him like when because I did his podcast, and then I did another show with him that's for his podcast too. But I told him, I was like, fuck. This seeing guys like you, it makes you go, fuck, I gotta step my game up
Yeah.
business wise.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. He's
just-
the business.
he's-
oh
Yeah, he's a really good comic, but he's a fucking beast in business.
yeah.
Like he was like, okay, TV doesn't want me, fuck TV.
I'll go YouTube.
Yeah, I'll go YouTube, and he's fucking killing it.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
he was a cool dude.
Yeah, he's the American Sebastien Bourgo.
Yeah, he's inspirational.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's no BS with that guy.
Yeah, no BS with fucking Andrew Schulz.
Yeah.
No BS with AS.
Yeah, no BS with AS. Yeah, he was a cool dude, him. And I was happy at this festival. Like a lot of our friends did very well. Like Abba and Preach had that
Yeah.
outdoor show with Andrew Schulz,
Yeah, yeah,
10,000 people. So
Yeah.
it was refreshing. It was fun to see.
Yeah.
There's people that you're happy, you're proud of, and shit. So it was good.
Yeah, and I got to meet Rich Voss for the 9th time.
If hopefully he remembers this time.
But this time I think he did. He did, because the next day I saw him, he remembered me.
It took him 3 days
Yeah.
to remember me. He walked up to me only at the last showing that you guys did, and he's like, "Oh, hey," and I was like, "Hey, boss."
Yeah.
And then he but every time he was looking at me, he's like, "Where have I seen this guy before?" But he's seen me in New York. He just doesn't remember anything.
I was so happy because we were doing that show for Andrew's thing, and then we were on stage, and I made fun of his
His attire.
his Rolex, and I was like that. Like I said, it was a shitty fake Rolex, and then he did a joke about me getting sued, not being able to afford a Rolex. Because I told him, I was like, only a fake Rolex is that shiny. A real one isn't that shiny. Then he goes, you wouldn't know, you can't afford them. But I have my Rolex.
Yeah, the real one.
So I was like, look, this is a real goddamn Rolex. It's not all fucking shiny and flashy like this fucking piece of garbage.
That was amazing.
Yeah, I was very happy.
And then the way he was dressed when you called him fucking, what is this, Bruno Mars
Yeah.
just ripping me.
Yeah, Jason Mraz.
Yeah. Oh, it was funny.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, it was. And I liked the
Lucas brothers.
The Lucas brothers. For some reason, whenever comics have a gimmick, I always think I'm gonna hate them.
Same.
It takes me an hour to and them. It was faster.
Well, I always liked them. I always thought they were funny. I never got to watch them do stand up. I only see them in movies and shit. And I like them. I like their stand up. I like their presence on stage. That was fucking hilarious. The way they complete each
Yeah.
other's sentences and the stuff they talk about. But I like the Lucas brothers too. They were fucking funny. They
Yeah.
were cool dudes.
Very funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we went to the Nasty show this year. There wasn't.
It wasn't as nasty.
It, like at first, the first couple of comics, I was like, "Oh shit, this is going nowhere."
Yeah.
Then Andrew came out, fucking destroyed.
And Big J.
Jimmy came out. Jimmy Carr
Yeah,
did a
surprise
surprise
guest,
set,
yeah.
and then Big J was fucking on fire like
As
always.
usual.
Yeah. So it was a good Nasty show, but because of those three guys.
Yeah. Could have been better.
Yeah, because like I really like Bobby Lee. I love his podcast, and I thought I'd like him as a host. Fucking hated him as a host.
Yeah. Because of that, I unsubscribed to his podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't
Fuck.
like him as a host. He seemed
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah.
He seemed angry at the crowd. And then the comedian, they had one black comic on the whole thing, comedian CP. And when he got off stage, Bobby Lee acted like it was an open mic. He's like, that guy, fuck. He's like, I forgot his name, but give it up for him.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on, man. It's a
Yeah.
professional show.
And you're a fucking Metropolis. It's
Yeah.
like
It's a big show.
it's probably the biggest room Bobby will
Has done
play
in a
this
while.
year.
Yeah. So that kind of got me
Yeah.
mad, that disrespect for the comedians. So I was
Yeah.
like, you know what?
And he was
Unsubscribe.
he was a very LA guy. Like when he brought Jimmy Carr up, instead of going like, this next guy is fucking, the biggest star in England.
And one of the biggest
He
in the comics in the world.
He won the first worldwide roast battle competition. He's fucking, like pound for pound, he's like one of the biggest comics working
Yeah.
right now. But he was like, this next guy sometimes does surprise sets at the Comedy Store. And you're like, what?
Why are you downplaying?
Who the fuck cares about the Comedy Store?
Yeah.
Who cares?
in the grand scheme of
It's
things. Yeah.
fucking like we're a million miles away from the Comedy Store. Everyone in Montreal knows of the Comedy Store, but most people don't give a fuck about the Comedy Store.
Yeah, not to that extent, especially when this guy's
Yeah.
bigger than that.
Like Jimmy Carr fucking can sell out an arena in Montreal, but you're talking about this guy fucking popped into the belly room last Monday and fucking murdered.
Yeah, so shit like that, it
Yeah.
got me so aggravated, like the disrespect,
Yeah.
that I unsubscribed to his podcast.
Fucking, but that's when you see the fucking like this year. This was the first year that like I hate the show busy French side because since like I know all of the fucking pieces of garbage on the French side, and I know all the really cool people on the French side. So when I go to those parties, there are too many pieces of shit
Yeah.
as opposed to really nice people. And in English, I didn't. The other years, I seem to just meet the really cool people. And this year is the first year that I was like, oh, there's so many pieces of shit.
Yeah,
and
there's a
it's
lot
the
of pieces of
same
shit.
pieces of shit as the year before. And everyone giving you their business card. I'm a fucking comic. What the fuck am I going to do with the business card?
People,
Yeah.
I'll show you after, emailed me business cards.
Fuck.
And it's like it's animated. It's like a GIF.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I had one guy. Well, he remember that magician that was trying to do a magic trick?
Oh yeah.
Fuck. And what's going
Through
through
your head.
that you're like, okay, I'm with these two comics. I'm a beginner comic. How can I impress them? Magic.
I remember I
Fuck.
kept yelling at him. I was like,
Fuck.
"Leave me the fuck
Yeah.
alone! Leave
And
me
then
alone!"
he does his stupid magic trick, and then I just left, and he goes, I hid the napkin behind my back, but no one saw, and I was like, everyone saw.
Yeah, that's what you said. Yeah, because I told him, "What about behind you?" He's like, "Don't fucking look behind me."
What a shitty magician. God damn.
Yeah, he was
Goddamn,
he was getting a little infuriating.
I guess that's why though that like on the Compound episode we were talking about those comedy club owners that thought I thought I was better than them, but it's because they're such garbage people.
Yeah, they're such garbage people. They talk shit,
Yeah.
and they always come from like, shitty places. Like I couldn't believe that people from Edmonton or Winnipeg were talking shit, and especially people that they're in the industry but refuse to pay money, the $120 for an industry pass, and then they act like they're big shots.
Yeah,
It's like you came down here by bus, probably you didn't fly here, like you said on the Compound episode, and you didn't want to pay money to join you didn't want to pay your ticket to
Yeah.
get in, basically, and then you're acting like you're hot shit.
the thing too, every year, the people on the Canadian side that try to impress you, because even now, like the people from Comedy Central, like no one's impressed by Comedy Central anymore.
I got a glass of water.
Oh yeah. But there was a guy that asked me, he was trying to impress me because he works on the Debaters, and I was like, okay, it's a radio show.
Yeah.
No, but it's the big radio show.
Yeah, it's the big
It's
show on the radio.
It's a big show on the government-owned radio station.
Yeah.
It's PBS.
Yeah.
It's Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, that's
You
what
know,
it is, yeah.
It's fucking, yeah. Who's that guy that used to do interviews on
George Stroumboulopoulos.
No, on PBS, the one that stopped after the Me Too movement.
Something Rose or
Yeah, it's fucking Rose guy.
Yeah, what's his name? What's his first name?
Axel.
Axel Rose.
Axel Rose is
It was the
fucking
guy who
amazing.
did Inside the Actor's Studio. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Inside the Actor's Studio.
The Inside the Actor's Studio used to be a driver for prostitutes in France.
I believe it when I see him.
He looks like that.
Yeah.
And he's only, you know how people in showbiz, you never know if they're 6'8" or 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
He's like this tall.
He's a little man.
He's like he had a character on Arrested Development, and whenever there's a scene of him standing up, he's smaller than the women.
That's
Like,
fucking
it's so
hilarious.
So he was a driver for prostitutes, and a driver for prostitutes is technically the guy that'll punch the customer if he's
In
a
the
piece
dick
of
at this
shit.
point.
Yeah, but yeah, he's fucking kicking shins and biting cocks.
He's like, listen, you
Yeah.
can't have your way with
Yeah.
her. You could just rape me, sir. Take me
Yeah.
instead.
What's your favorite swear word? You're gonna say it now, and then he punches the guy in the dick.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so fucking ridiculous. I want to see that guy get back to making those videos. I used to like those inside the
Yeah,
actors
he
who do
stopped
it.
doing those.
I haven't seen it in the longest time.
Was he?
Then again, I don't watch much TV.
Yeah,
anymore.
no, neither do I. Like I heard this year at the festival, I was really happy. Tom Green has been filling in for Larry King on Larry King's YouTube show.
Okay.
And apparently someone told me that Larry King retired.
And he just took over.
And it's just him that
That's
took over.
amazing.
And then I was like, oh shit, so it's gonna become the Tom Green show? They were like, no, it's just gonna be the Larry King show.
Larry King live,
Hosted by Tom Green.
That's ridiculous.
Which is so stupid, it's funny.
There's something funny about it because, yeah, there's something funny. I always like guest host. Somebody had mentioned that a long time ago to have a podcast where
You call it the Steve Allen show, but it's not.
it's always a different
Yeah.
host, but it's never Steve Allen.
Yeah. Like with the Larry King thing, right now it's just weird when people are gonna go. But when Larry King dies, there's gonna be something awesome that it's still called the Larry King show.
Yeah.
Like if the Tonight Show was called Johnny Carson now.
Johnny Carson's Tonight
Yeah.
Show.
Yeah, if you'd be like, I was on Letterman last night with Colbert and fucking.
I was on Letterman last night. You know what sucks is that I'm never gonna be able to say that. A lot of comics will never be able to say that
Yeah.
because all these new late night guys, it's not the same.
Yeah, one that I really like Jimmy Kimmel still. I know that he's like very, very, very left leaning, but his comedy, like he lets comics that are a little edgier than the other shows get on.
Yeah, he's a bit more lenient. I think because also he dated a comic. Like he's more, he's closer to the comedy world.
Like when we did when Just for Laughs did that benefit for me a couple years ago, he was there and I was really surprised.
Really?
Yeah, he just showed up. He was downstairs in the like he came downstairs. I want to go see Jim Norton and he was like, "Can I smoke a joint somewhere?" And I was like, "Okay." And then I let him smoke in my dressing room. And then it was just weird since I don't smoke, or now I do, but I didn't smoke in those days. So it was weird being in a room with Jimmy Kimmel, watching him smoke a joint. It didn't make sense.
Yeah, that must be a weird scenario. Like, hey man, nice technique.
Yeah. And then Ralphie May came in. Well, Jeff Ross came in. Then Ralphie May came in because he was angry at Jeff Ross because he did a roast battle and Jeff let the guy that beat Ralphie use an old shitty stolen joke. So shit. Ralphie was giving him shit, and then Jeff was giving Ralphie shit, and it was just. And then I was like, can I just go see Jim Norton? Like I was.
Oh, it was heavy shit.
Yeah, and since they were all smoking, like at first I could have just left, but then since there was so much smoke, I was like, if I open the door, the security guy is gonna see that we were smoking in here, and everyone's gonna get in trouble. So I just
have to sit there and watch them fight.
I just watched them fight, got a little stoned off the smoke, and then went home.
And where was Kimmel? In the corner while this is happening?
Kimmel was just he was sort of, it was awesome because he was trying to throw fuel on the fire. Like he was like, if one would say something, the other would go, no, but I meant this. He was like, no, but really, you know. So he was
really?
Like,
he's a shit disturber.
He was a very shit disturber. Like it was amazing.
That's hilarious.
I was like, oh fuck, I like this guy.
He's just trying to fuck around.
Yeah. Because he took it as a joke since they were both. Well, I don't think like Ralphie was angry because he got fucked, but and then Jeff was kind of defending himself, but he was stoned, so it didn't really make sense what he was saying. And then I think Jimmy was just having fun.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I keep getting weird messages from people.
Comedy people?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Okay.
Like I got
that's what they say.
It's funny because there was one of the volunteers there who she mistook me for Andrew Schulz. You remember?
Oh yeah.
And then
because you look exactly like Andrew Schulz.
Exactly like Andrew Schulz.
Except for the hair, the beard, the size,
everything.
And the face.
Yeah. And the name.
Yeah.
So I told her, no, I'm not.
Same
Andrew
color
Schulz.
though.
Same color at least.
That's the only thing.
So I said, I'm not Schulz, whatever. And then I was like, okay, it ends there. Like I never, she's like, are you Andrew Schulz? I'm like, okay, she doesn't know who I am, you know? It's like, no, I'm not Andrew Schulz. He doesn't look anything like me. I go, but you'll find him. He's coming out soon. Because it was back after the Nasty Show backstage. And I forgot about it. Then a couple of days later, I got a message on Facebook, and it said like, "Hey, I'm sorry if I called you out the other day. I didn't mean to make it awkward." And I was like, "I don't know who this is. Like, I don't remember anything." So remember when I called you Andrew, and it took me like an hour because I said I don't even remember this, and then after I'm like, oh fuck, now I remember. I go, that's not an awkward situation.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't even think about that. And then she's like, yeah, well, I just didn't want it to be awkward. I was like, okay. And then I was like, wait a second, if she didn't know who I was,
How did she find you?
yeah. And then I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, the plot thickens. This gets weirder.
That means she probably Googled, described you into Google. Right?
I don't know. I don't know how that works. Anyways, there's that. So that was kind of weird. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'm just overthinking it. And then she's like, dude, I want you to do my French comedy show. I was like, fuck, how does she even know that I do stand-up? She's like, no, I've seen you do stand-up. And I was like, wait, what? You know?
Oh, and she's a French comedy
Yeah, she's like,
booker?
no, she's doing comedy, I guess. And then she said,
Okay.
I'd be honored if you would open for me. And
What?
Then, yeah. And then I was like, well, I don't really do French comedy. She's like, no, it'll be fun. It'll be good. I go, well, it wouldn't. Like, and then there's a whole message of me, like, you know,
being an opener for someone that's a driver at the festival.
exactly, but also not taking no for an answer. And then I'm like, when is this even? And she's like, oh, next year, 2020, ZooFest next year. And I was like, holy
what a
fucking shit.
weirdo.
What is happening right now?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid people. Stupid people. That's the thing, though, that I love at the festival. And I was even talking to one guy who's really, really, really bad at his job, talking about another guy that was really bad at his job. So I was like, look at that fucking dummy. He doesn't get, he's bad at business. He's just stupid. And he was like, yeah, he does this, he does this. And in my mind, I was like, you're just as bad as him, though. It was fun. I like the festival for that.
The weirdos?
Yeah, the weirdos. I couldn't do it every night, though, this year. Like the other years, I'd go every night, but this year I needed a break every 2-3 days sort of to wash the weirdness off me.
Yeah, well, I didn't go till the first day I went was when I had my one-man show. I didn't go up until then.
Okay.
I didn't do the first. I didn't care. And then when I did my one-man show, I didn't go back until that Monday, right? Because we did our show on the Wednesday. So I went Monday with you. Tuesday we did a barbecue at your house, so
Yeah.
we didn't go Tuesday either. We went Wednesday for our show, and then we just did. You didn't even go Thursday. No, you didn't go Friday. We went Thursday.
We went
Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
And then Friday, I only went for 1 hour, and then I did the podcast in the middle of the
Yeah.
night. And then Saturday, we showed up for the
Saturday.
last night. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, we skipped a lot this year because it was just meh.
Yeah. Yeah. But I still liked it.
I had fun.
I
I have fun when I see people I don't see
Yeah.
throughout the year, right?
The thing I like about Just for Laughs, it's always been for me like the holidays. Because when I was little, I was too dirty to dream about doing the Tonight Show, even though like I was like, I'd like to do the Tonight Show. So my dream was I want to do a gala. Or
Yeah, me
at
too.
first it was even I want to do the Nasty Show. And I was like, I want to do the Nasty Show, and then they'll put me on a gala. So whenever I do the festival, I'm like, I don't even really do it anymore, but I always try to do one thing just to sort of be there. And every year, so it's like the holidays. So after the festival, I always have resolutions. It's always like I never have my resolution January 1st. It's always the last day of the festival. Must be the worst time of the year for Michelle, my manager, because I just write them and I'm like, look, I'm tired of this fucking bullshit. We're doing this. And then it's for like 2 weeks. I'm like a bully. I'm like, I'm getting back into shape. I'm fucking going to lose 40 pounds. And then September comes around and I'm fucking fat again.
Me too. Me, it's my year end, like how school was and all
Yeah.
that. Me, my year end is when the festival finishes. And then the last 2 years, everything I said that I wanted to do for the next year accomplished, I did.
Yeah.
And even last festival last year, what I said is, okay, next year I want to be back with an hour, and I did it this year.
Yeah.
I did my hour this year. So now I'm planning on what.
Next year, your next plan is you want to open for a French weirdo.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
At ZooFest.
That's, thank God. Then I would have
And
made
she'd be
it.
like, hey, merci, Andrew.
Yeah. Exactly. I would. You know what I'd like to do? I honestly, I would like to be part of a gala.
Yeah.
You know, especially how well I did this year. And also, I've seen some of the people that get galas.
Yeah.
I was like,
You have Olivia that likes you.
yeah, she
And
might be my best.
She's so like she's good at her job and she's well respected
yeah.
at Just for Laughs. So she has to talk about you to everyone.
She's been a good. She's supported like my rise for years now. Like she
Yeah.
really liked the stuff that I do.
Yeah.
And she gets comedy.
Yeah, she thanked me last year. Like when I'd asked you to open for me, she was like, "Oh fuck, thank you for putting him on. I've been telling them to put him on the festival for years,
Yeah, she's.
and it wasn't working."
Yeah, she had my back.
Yeah.
Who knows? Next year, I got the
Yeah.
hour now. Next year, you never know. I might get that little gala spot.
Yeah.
And the gala spot now is what? It's 5 minutes, right?
I don't know.
I
think it's more than that. I think
7.
it's 7 or 10.
7 or 10, I could
Yeah.
kill that shit.
Like I did English. I think I did 2 galas. One of them was just a regular gala. One was a gala for HBO.
Oh,
Well, the Canadian one though, so you can take your O back.
but
But anyway,
I'll change it for an A.
for HBO.
A?
Oh, Canada. Hey.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so I was doing HBO Canada, and I had to do, like, I was happy I was booked because you know how it is here. There's always a quota, so they're like, we need 1 Canadian, we need for the subsidies. So I got booked, and Mike Wilmot was already on. So I was like, fuck, I like Mike, and he was already booked, so he's the fucking token Canadian. So I'm just one of the comics. I was super happy. I was fucking high-fiving everyone. But then I found out I was a token Quebecer. So
it's from all over Canada?
yeah, because it had to be like all of the comics were all Americans except for me and Mike. It was me. It was Amy Schumer. It was Jim Norton and Jimmy Carr and Triumph the Insult Comic.
Is that where you met Jimmy Carr?
No, I knew Jimmy before that, but that's where we really kind of bonded. And but it was weird because like the day of the show, I get there and they tell me, they're like, look, there's a subsidy thing. You have to do a minute longer than anyone else. And I was like, what? And they're like, look, to get this subsidy, whoever does the longest, you got to do 1 minute longer than that guy.
That's kind of funny.
And I was like, okay. So then, because I'd ask them, how much time do I do? Do I do like 6 or 8?
It all depends on
They're
what they
like,
do.
do 1 minute more than whoever's doing. So I'm like, okay. So I told them, I was like, light me after 10 minutes and then leave the light on. And then when I can get off, just take the light off and I'll know I can get off. So they're like, okay. We do the thing. Everyone does their time. But Triumph, the Insult Comic Dog, he was roasting every province. So he starts and he does, like, he was supposed to do 8 minutes. But after like 17 minutes, he's up to Winnipeg. He's up to Manitoba. So he's like halfway through the country. And then they're like, shit. And this was live on HBO. So they were
This
like,
is live?
Yeah, it was live. So they're like, oh, fuck. Okay, let's just, they start flashing the light to tell, well, I guess they couldn't even flash a light. I don't know how.
Hand puppet.
Yeah, because it's a hand puppet. But someone went to sort of tell him, and then he didn't want to stop. He kept on doing it. So they sent whoever was hosting. Forget who it was. Bob Saget that was hosting. Bob Saget went on stage. He was like, hey, all right, that was fucking Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. Like, they started the music. It was so fucking weird.
Oh,
but
God.
He had done like 17 or 18 minutes. So I had to do 19 minutes in a gala where everyone was doing like 7-8 minutes.
That's fucking funny.
And I'm the only fucking person that isn't known on the lineup, right? Because Amy Schumer wasn't as big as she is now, but she was still pretty big. Jim Norton was fucking as big as he is now, but he didn't want to close. He wanted to open. So I'm like near the end. It's me. And then I start doing it. And I'm doing my thing. And then I told him, light me at 10 and then take it off when it's over. But then, so they lit me at 10, but they left the light on for like 9 minutes. And then my wife was watching it live on HBO Canada. And she thought I had lost my mind. Because she was watching me, and she was like, I could fucking see the red light on you. And then I was like, why won't he leave? She thought it was because I was like, fuck it, I'm live. What are they going to do? Fuck them. So I did my whole everything, like my whole set. And then I did, because I hadn't been doing stand-up that long in English. So I did my whole set, then everything I had. And then I'd done all the material I had because I only had like fucking 17, 18 minutes of solid material. And then I was like, fuck, okay, I got to finish with something. But all of my big finishes were already done.
Oh, no.
So then I was like, fuck, I had other stuff that worked, but not really. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to take something that used
Works
to kill in French and I think it probably will kill in English, and that's how I closed. So it was very weird. It went well, but I just looked like people watching at home were probably like,
Why doesn't he get off the stage?
what a fucking asshole. Like they fucking they kicked Triumph off, but this piece of shit gets 20 minutes.
That's a fucking good story.
Yeah, it was weird though.
God damn.
But it was awesome for my my sort of demo, because generally when you do a gala, you take you have to put the whole thing because it's only a 6-minute spot. But when you do 20 minutes, you just take the 6 best minutes, and then you're like, hey, this is what I do.
That's amazing. Yeah, this year I got kind of I wanted to tape it. I didn't get a chance to tape my my hour, but it might actually be a good thing because I'm gonna refine it. While 'cause I have to do it in Ottawa and all these other places, so I'll be able to refine. Then I'll film it later because I wouldn't release it now anyway because it's the hour that I'm gonna be doing for the next couple of
It'd
months.
just be good to have it just to see, like, since it's like an hour for people that paid to see you.
Yeah,
There's a difference with that and in a club.
yeah, definitely difference. Yeah, and it was because there's a lot of jokes that I can't do regularly at the comedy clubs.
Yeah.
Because people aren't ready for them. Because
Yeah.
even my crowd, there was some stuff that they were like,
Yeah.
you know.
So imagine like a Nest crowd.
Yeah, still want to do my Saudi Arabia bit at the Nest one day
Yeah.
just to see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll work though. Well, once you get it, like it's ready now for your fans,
Yeah.
and it'll be ready for public consumption in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, probably. I need a couple more spots
Yeah.
just to refine it a bit. Just change the surprise up a bit for people to take it in easier.
Yeah.
So where are we sending people this week?
We're sending people to. Are we sending them to Planet Host?
We should send them to Planet
We should
Hoster.
send them to. They stopped being a sponsor, but we're still gonna we're gonna plug them.
We're good dudes.
Yeah.
And if they go to Planet Hoster, they could use the promo code 2, that's the number 2, -drink-minimum.
Yeah.
And they're going to get themselves like 25% off.
20% or
Is it
25.
20 or
I'm not
25?
sure if it's 20
They're
or
getting
25.
a discount though.
They're getting a discount.
Yeah.
Why are you complaining? And most of the people that listen to this are no, I guess the free shows, there's people from all over. For the Americans, beautiful thing about Planet Hoster, it is Canadian, so you get the sweet Canadian
It's a
dollar.
fire sale.
Yeah, it's like going to a flea market.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck? They have web servers in flea markets? They do. And
That's
it's
exactly what
good
it is.
quality. You get better service than you would at GoDaddy or any of the bigger places, because you talk to real people in Montreal. They have servers in Europe too. So if
In
you're
France.
European, you want to fucking speak to a French dude.
You can do it.
Yeah, exactly. Even
And-
if you don't have problems.
And they're in France, so you could literally
Yeah.
go over there and be like, I own this building. And then you're like, yes, sir, we surrender you. This is your building now.
Yeah. You could take over the Planet Hoster office in France.
Yeah. Not here, though. Very
Yeah.
rebellious here.
Here they'll fight you till the death.
Yeah.
But in France, they'll give up very quickly.
And if you want to support this podcast in other ways, tell your friends about it.
Yeah.
Share it. Go to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube page. Go to iTunes. Go to Google Podcasts.
Apple
Podcasts.
Apple
iTunes doesn't
Podcasts.
exist anymore.
Google Podcast,
Stitcher.
Stitcher Podcast,
We're on Laughable.
Laughable Podcast.
Laughable podcast. We're on every podcast. Wherever you buy or eat your podcasts,
Yeah.
we're there. If podcasts are being consumed by you, just look no further than us. Head over to MikeWard.ca for all of Mike Ward's tour dates. He's touring everywhere around Quebec right now. In French, Mike Ward Noir is his is the set that he's touring with. He will be. I think you're gonna be back in Saint Agathe. No, you're in Brossard next week. No,
No, I'm I don't know where I'm playing.
Yeah,
Like
this-
I'm everywhere.
you're everywhere. So if you're in Quebec,
Yeah.
you could catch
For
him.
the next year, I got shows pretty much every weekend.
Some of them are already selling out in their months.
Yeah. Most of
advance.
them are selling out in their big rooms.
So
I'm
MikeWard.ca, and don't forget, if you speak French, Mike Ward's French language podcast, Mike Ward Good, which is the #1 French language podcast on the planet, is out there right now. He's got millions of downloads, so help him out. Add another one to those millions. It's actually doing so well that he's erecting billboards around this city to remind people of his fuckery, which is amazing. Head over to panteliscomedy.com for my stuff. Pantelis Comedy on YouTube, whatever you want. Subscribe, and go fuck yourselves. Thank you for listening.
Perfect.